Number 3, need for improved workforce preparation. We're going to talk a little bit later, a little bit more about ways that students can involve in the community, ways that they can become engaged better. But as you know, the whole idea, the whole focus of workforce development, economic development, there is going to be, I think, continually more pressure put on Florida's 28 colleges to really make that a top strategic priority. For good or for bad, for right or for wrong, I think that's what's going to happen. And then the fourth why, and we addressed this just a minute ago too, low levels of civic participation and community engagement. So why involve students? Why involve higher ed in the community or in civic engagement? There really are your 4 reasons in a nutshell. That's the right there is why we do what we do, at least right now. It kind of changes from day to day. Sure, interject.
Well, one of the things we consistently hear from jobs is that we're doing a pretty decent job of, let's say you're an accounting major, okay, and you show up at work and you can crunch the numbers. That's not a problem, but you're seriously lacking in some of the soft skills. And those are the things that service learning can teach. You know, how to get along in an office, how to work in a team, how to work in a boardroom, how to, you know, all those things. So just throw that out there.
How do you do that when you increase technology in the learning process? How do you isolate you? I mean, this is a question that we deal with in the classroom all the time.
Interestingly, I actually just the other day took Dee Dee a pamphlet about a new book that I have not been able to get my hands on yet, but I cannot read, and I can't remember, Teaching Naked. And the subtitle is Getting Rid of Technology and Getting Back to Teaching, or something like that. If somebody's online, you might Google that title and get the exact tagline, but the main title is Teaching Naked. And the book really addresses that exact issue. It addresses the issue of, have we become too technology-based and too technology-dependent, to the point that I heard earlier when we were talking about the value of actual interaction, eye-to-eye, engaging with students. Have we become too dependent upon technology?
But the quick answer is, you take your class out of the classroom and into the community, and the community becomes your classroom, and you find a community-based teaching experience that would serve the community but teach history, whatever that is, or, you know, whatever, he happens to be history, but whatever your discipline is, through a service experience where there is no technology involved, even if it's for a day.
So you might want to just make note of that second bullet there. You might see that one later. Oh, I'm sorry.
The tagline there is how moving technology out of your college classrooms will improve student learning.
How removing technology from your classroom will improve student learning. That's the tagline from Teaching Naked. I can't wait to get a copy of it to read it.
I think it was written by a music professor. He might be a little biased.
Because I'll just tell you, I can't, having taught for many years, I can't imagine not seeing my students face to face. Not that I don't believe in the value of teaching through technology, because, you know, we look at videos and I use technology a lot, but I really am that eye-to-eye kind of guy.
But we
So,
do have resources
yeah.
on how to do service learning.
Yes, online, yeah. Yeah, I'm not dissing that at all. So, yeah, don't hear
He's a
that.
music professor.
Yeah, you know, we're weird. So, okay. This also comes from the Crucible Moment document. Interesting kind of shift here. Student views. Student views on the importance of contributing to their communities. And I want you to look how it shifts over the course of 4 years in college. They should be contributing to their community versus they actually are contributing to their community. So when they come in as freshmen, about half of them think they should be. By the time they get out, that has moved up. That's moved higher. More seniors think they should be contributing to their communities than freshmen did. But look at the shift in the number of students that actually are out contributing to their communities.
Do they give a reason if those statistics are the fact that they think they should be, but they really aren't? Do they go forward and say why that disconnect if they think they should be, but they're not? What reasons they give for not doing it?
There is some research on that. I don't have that slide with me. I can get you the link to where you could read that documentation on it. Yes, because there. Yes. This back to the whole workforce development thing. Percentages of employers who want colleges to place more emphasis on essential learning outcomes. So, in other words, the question is, what are employers looking for from college students? Well, sadly, civic knowledge, civic participation, civic engagement is really only important to about 52% of potential employers. However, critical thinking and analytic reasoning, applied knowledge in real world settings. So, what does that mean for us? What that means for us is taking civic knowledge, participation, engagement, and applying this down here so that real world settings, critical thinking, and analytic reasoning can really be taught through civic participation and engagement. If this is what the employers want, but this is kind of our desired outcome, then what we're now doing is we're looking for a way to teach this through this. Does that make sense?
And then the chemistry example I gave earlier, that's what that professor was trying to get at is, use your critical thinking skills. Why were we over there testing this paint? What is the applicability? Am I just learning how to do this chemistry stuff? Or is there a reason for it? And how does it apply? And so he's teaching them to use their critical thinking skills through this exercise. And that's what a lot of employers are saying to us. They're like, don't train them. We're better at training than you are. Just send me somebody that knows how to think.
Okay. Student learning outcomes as addressed through the strategic plans of colleges and universities. Now, again, we've got the statistics here for both Florida and nationwide. The darker line is the Florida line. The lighter line is the national statistic. College strategic plans are what we're talking about here. So, education for global citizenship is addressed by about 80% of Florida institutions in their strategic plan. Interestingly, student civic learning, probably about 68%. Advocates for social issues in Florida, probably 42, 43%. Careers for the public good, about 45% in Florida. Coming back here to service to the community, now this includes both local, national, global. On the survey statistics, it's a pretty broad question that was asked. And these statistics come from a survey that is done annually by all of the national membership of Campus Compact. So this goes to those 1,500 institutions that Dee Dee was talking about earlier. But service to the community, as addressed in strategic plans in Florida, almost 90%, nationwide, a little over 80%. So that shows you kind of where the thinking of the people writing those strategic plans, how their thinking is going with some of these key issues that are important to these service learning outcomes. Same survey, same strategic plan, essential learning outcomes as addressed. I'll just give you a minute to kind of look through that. But, looking through what they're considering essential learning outcomes, critical thinking, intercultural knowledge, foundations for skills, integrative learning, written communication, creative thinking, I find it interesting personally that teamwork's kind of low, but that's just me. So, kind of thinking about strategic plans, what are some of the student outcomes that schools are addressing through their strategic plans? What are the essential learning outcomes that they are addressing through their strategic plans, and knowing how that is coming down to you, whether that is in the classroom or in the student affairs office or whatever. What are some of the challenges that you face in dealing with some of those things that are coming down to you as goals to help the institution achieve its plan?
Well, I'm actually a faculty member, and I've been doing it for 20 years, and it seems to me that the service learning movement peaked about 10 years ago, and then it foundered on what were logistical problems. And the problems were, you talk about, you give the chemistry example, the problem people ran into, any institution offers 50 sections of Chem 1045. There's virtually no way of telling the students that in one of those Chem 1045s, they're going to be going off into low-income housing. And then the problem you get sometimes is a student says, I don't want a piece of your philanthropy. I never signed up for it. I just wanted Chem 1045. And it became an issue there on how you ethically dealt with that, because it wasn't advertised necessarily as something you were going to do. The other problem you ran into was simply the logistics problem.
Right.
How do you get all of those people to do it? Because if they sign up for Chem 1045 plus 1 hour lab, they've committed 1 hour lab. They haven't committed travel time. They haven't done the other stuff. They don't know about it in advance. And all of these, I think nobody ever argued with the pedagogical or intellectual basis of service learning. It just founded on those logistics.
Well,
Let me say real quick, this is why I thought I
Fix the problem.
But one of the things that Campus Compact does is we work and provide professional development training and consultative services, and we will go onto a campus. Let me give you a real life story. The University of Central Florida had a good number of faculty members, just like what you're talking about, that were just independently doing this thing called service learning because they thought it was important, they liked it, etc. But for all the reasons you're talking about, we have since gone on their campus, met with a team of administrators, and more formalized a service learning commitment. They now have a committee. If you want to teach a service learning class, you go before the committee. It's dubbed as a service learning course in the curriculum.
And designated as
And
such.
designated as such. And so, and when I say, I don't want to get into all that and get us too far off kilter, but if on your campus you're interested in learning more, having us come and sit with you and your team to find out about how to better formalize the support systems that are necessary to sustain high-quality community partnerships, thereby integrating the Division of Student Affairs into the training that happens with, because one of the pieces is you have to train your community partner to be your co-educator. We want the community to be a co-educator. We don't want them to abuse our students for free labor, right? We don't want our students going over to hospice and answering the phone and filing whatever. We want them to be integrated into learning about end-of-life issues, right? Or taking oral histories of those patients. Mr. History Professor, he's like me. So anyway, to answer your question, that's why we're here, really. That's why I started by myself. We now have a staff. We're now all over the country because of those issues that you're talking about. And that's why, but it's a much bigger, more complex answer to your question. Can an individual faculty member do service learning effectively all by him or herself? Yes. Is it much more sustainable, higher quality if you have a more strategic, campus-wide approach to community engagement? Yes. Can we help you get from here to here? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I would agree that a few years ago that the movement went through some growing pains. But I do think a lot of those issues really have been addressed by a lot of institutions. About a month ago, I met with a group of faculty members down at Palm Beach State College. And this was largely faculty members who had heard about service learning but weren't really doing it because they didn't really know how. And we met and talked about how to establish a relationship with a community partner and what that meant and how to maintain a relationship with a community partner and what that long-lasting, ongoing relationship, the kind of the care and nurture of that relationship with your community partner means. There are challenges in a huge institution where you do have 20 sections of the same class. But can it be done? Yes. It's being done very effectively at places like UCF and UF. USF in Tampa it's poised to become one of the leaders in the nation in the service learning movement. And they are just doing great things in some of their courses that have huge numbers of students taking the exact same class at the same time. Yes?
At a Hillsborough Community College, we would also have 30 or 40 sections in each track, and we would tie the service learning classes with a specific section of college success, a one-credit college success course that is required for graduation. And that way, during registration, they would see that you can take English, you can take the English with a college success that's tied to service learning, and it was easily identifiable, and they got the benefit of both.
Yeah, a lot of schools have worked towards that either SL or some kind of designation in the registration process, so that students do understand going into it that it is not the 3-hour course with a 1-hour lab, that it really is a different kind of approach to teaching the course.
Interject
Yeah.
one more thing, a couple of thoughts. One is, not everybody calls it service learning anymore for the very reasons you mentioned. That kind of went out of vogue, and you know how things are. So, okay, here's one for you. Ready? Community-based transformational learning. transformational community-based learning, and it really is a tremendous thing that they're doing. They're really doing some really cool things, but it has a different name. It's the same item. Engaged scholarship, or the scholarship of engaged, is another way to put it. So whatever you want to call it, we're here to help. We're happy to help. A lot of community colleges, state colleges, whatever you guys want to call yourselves, are doing some really tremendous work around the country. There is actually, my colleague runs the center, it's CCNCCE, it's something about community colleges.
Community
and civic
College
engagement.
Center for
Community College Center for Civic Engagement or something. It's in Arizona. They have a huge conference once a year all about how to do service learning for community colleges.
National.
Would love to help send you there, give you information on it. Fantastic conference. Always around what holidays? That's either Labor Day or Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, right?
Yes.
So leading into that, so you can go visit the Grand Canyon and
Yeah.
Station Centers and stuff.
Yeah, if you want to Google CCNCCE, it's the Community College National Center for Civic Engagement.
There you go. Also, though, right here in Florida, several of our campuses are considered national leaders in this work. Miami-Dade College, with their 8 campuses and 130,000 students, does phenomenal service learning work. They have a service learning coordinator on each campus that works with faculty members. Brevard Community College was one of the original leaders that actually helped start Campus Compact. So they've got great models there. And these folks are more than happy to share their resources. We can share their resources with their permission too. And we can, this is a field that is, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'll give you something that you can put your logo on the front and run with. So.
Okay. Getting into the whole question of student access and success, retention, how to keep two-year college students engaged, persistent, and to keep them in school and to complete school. These seem to be, through the research that we have, the predictors of what will keep students engaged and persistent and help them to finish school. Social and academic integration, active learning, positive peer relationships, positive person-environment fit, successful anticipatory socialization, successful separation from previous socializing agent, successful negotiation of transitional periods, capacity to incorporate new values and norms, positive relationship with faculty, a sense of belonging, a strong sense of self-efficacy, and high expectations with accountability. It's come from a 2011 address, securing student access through service learning. Student academic outcomes, again looking at the research. Increased academic outcomes. Students engaged in service learning with reflection showed statistically significant increases in the ability to analyze increasingly complex problems. And if you remember back a few slides, analyzing complex problems was one of the things being looked for by potential employers. So important there. Freshman composition students participating in course-based service learning experiences showed higher gains than comparison groups in writing abilities.